Rock on, rock on. My name is Ben Cool. I'm a sports analyst and the host of BC-60. Today I'm interviewing Mike, the award-winning sports anchor reporter at Next Star. Thanks for coming.
Yay, happy to be here.
I'm excited for conversation ahead. I appreciate you taking time with the schedule to join me.
Let's do it.
I have a few questions for you.
Okay, I'm ready. Fire away.
What originally got you interested in becoming a sports broadcaster?
Uh, you know, I grew up acting. I did a lot of plays growing up when I was a little kid, and I liked the performance aspect of it. And then when I got to be about 9, I discovered sports. Really started getting a passion for it. And I remember at about the time I was 11, kind of getting tired of acting because it was the same scripts over and over again. It was the same, rehearsal every day. And I was watching a Nick game on TV, and I remember kind of relating with the announcers, like they're acting kind of, but they're reacting. And I was like, this is for me. So that was it. And at that moment, at the time that I was 11 years old, that's when I decided I was going to do this.
That sounds fun.
It was. It was. I remember that. It's funny. I actually remember the exact moment that it happened. It was a Knicks Rockets game, and a guy named Robert Ory was a rookie with the Rockets at that time. He stepped into a jumper, and I was watching with my father, and I looked at my father, and I said, that like a Scottie Pippen shot. And no sooner did I say that than John Andres, the Knicks color analyst, said the exact same thing. And I just couldn't get over that. I was like, oh my gosh, I can do this. And that was what really started to give me the confidence that I could go into this field. And then the other thing, I was really fortunate that my high school had a radio station, and I just became a sponge. I remember hanging out all hours after school at my radio station. I had a teacher by the name of Glenn Allison, who really, really was such an important mentor toward me. He had done it and now was teaching. And I just like tried to sponge up to him and try to learn all I could from him because he had the key to doing this. And that's kind of how it began.
Darling. And how did you end up working in sports media in Charlotte?
You know, kind of a crazy, I mean, not so much a crazy story, but you just kind of go where the job takes you. My career started out in 2005. I was working in Palm Springs, California at a small market. And then every so often, every couple of years, you move on. So I went from from Palm Springs to Charleston, South Carolina. I worked in a station there for 3 years at the NBC station. They decided to cut sports, which was a tough go for me, the consummate sports guy. So I left the station. I ended up going to Syracuse, New York again, where I went to college. Then I went back there, worked there for about a year, then went to Toledo, Ohio, worked there for 3 years, then to Louisville, Kentucky, worked there for 4 years, then to Grand Rapids, Michigan, worked there for 4 years, and then now I've been here in Charlotte for 4 years. So that's the story. I mean, there's definitely no linear path. It's been a lot of trial and error. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but I keep going.
That's amazing.
It's
And
it's a lot of hard work, but it's been worth it.
and if you could interview any athlete, past or present, who would it be and why?
Michael Jordan. I have tried so hard to interview Michael Jordan since I've been here. I mean, I'm wearing his shirt. This is his store in Orlando, Florida. He's got a store where he sells boutique sneakers. I'm wearing his sneakers. I'd raise my foot if I had more flexibility. But I mean, he was my idol growing up, and still is a guy that I admire for what he's done. And I've never interviewed him, but I'll tell you the story. I was covering his trial against NASCAR back in December. He was taking NASCAR to court for an antitrust suit, and he was in court. I mean, he was like 5 feet away from me, sitting in the front row, and it's like, holy moly, there's Michael Jordan. He's right there, but you got to be cool. You're a professional. You can't geek out. But inside, I'm like, oh boy, this is it. And so there was a break in the courtroom testimony, and I took a wrong turn, and I ended up trying to find the bathroom, couldn't find it, turned around, and I see this suit walking toward me. And I'm thinking in my mind, I've got to ask this guy where the bathroom is. And I look up, and it's freaking Michael Jordan right there in my face. And all I could think of was, for the love of God, do not ask him where the bathroom is. I'm not going to ask my idol, my one chance to talk to him, where the bathroom is. But this is all happening in a split second in real time. So the only thing that I could think of was, "What's up, man?" And he smiled back and said, "Not much. How are you?" And I'm like, "I'm good." And I walked around the corner, and I was by myself, and I was like, "Oh, I talked to him." So that's about as close as I can get to interviewing Michael Jordan, but I've talked to him.
Cool.
Yes, very cool.
And if I can interview anybody, I would interview The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, because he's a funny wrestler and used to be a great WWE wrestler.
So I've never met The Rock, but I have met a lot of WWE guys. Shawn Michaels was my favorite guy growing up, and I've interviewed him twice. And they say you're not supposed to meet your heroes, but I met him, and he couldn't have been nicer. The first time I interviewed him, he was doing his hunting show on the Outdoor Network, and he was at a convention in Columbus, Ohio, when I was working in Toledo, and I drove all the way out there, and I got there in time, but he left his post early, and I was in the lobby, and all of a sudden I looked to my right, and there he is eating a panini. And I tapped him on the shoulder, and I was like, "Hey, I missed you, but is there any way I can interview you?" And he said, "Sure." So we talked, and then years later, I interviewed him again. And he was a nice guy. But I've met a lot. I met Mick Foley, Chris Jericho. I went to Ric Flair's retirement party in Columbia, South Carolina, which was a wild story. But I for one night, I got to party with the Nature Boy, which was pretty cool.
Cool.
Yes.
What's the most surprising interview you've ever had with an athlete, a sports personality?
Surprising interview. Wow. I can't tell you surprising. I can tell you the most amazing, surprising event that I've covered. How about that? That work?
Tell me.
All right. So I was in Charleston, South Carolina. I was covering a high school basketball state championship game. And there was a guy by the name of A.J. Green on the team that I was covering. And he ended up playing for the Cincinnati Bengals as a wide receiver. But A.J. was playing basketball, and his team was up 2 with like a second left to go in the game, with the other team with them at the line in a 1-and-1. They missed the free throw. The other team shot a 75-foot shot at the buzzer, and it went in. And it was just absolute pandemonium. Like, that's how the game ended. But the referees got together, they conferred, and they decided that there was no way that guy could grab a rebound, turn around, and hit a 75-footer in the span of like a second. So they waved the basket off, and AJ Green's team won the championship. It was such a range of emotions taking place in such a short amount of time. It was definitely cool.
That's gnarly.
Was very, yes.
What skills do you think separate a good sports sport from a great one?
I think you need to have 3 things. I think the first thing you need to have is a personality. Your personality is what separates you from everybody else. There gets to be a point where a lot of people can do the job, but it's like, how do you separate? And the only way you can do that is just because I'm me. And if you like me, then that's a reason to keep me. Another reason is creativity. I think you have to be really creative and look to take chances. Your idol, The Rock, he has a saying all the time where it's just like, but how do we make it better? And that's sort of how I always look into with my stories. How do I make this story better? And that's another one. And then the other one, I think, is an opinion. I think you got to be real. You got to tell people how, like it is. I think I don't think you can do it all the time, but I think there's a time and place for delivering your opinion. And I think that's another reason that makes you stand out.
Rock on. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me for an interview. It was an absolute pleasure to speak with you. Your insights, your stories, and respect are inspiring. I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn from you.
Well, thank you for having me. I can say that I've been interviewed by a lot of people, but never have I interviewed by a puppet of your caliber. So I appreciate your time.
Rock on, rock on. That's the end of my show. See you soon, everyone.